Respect My Crown is a community designed to support women who desire to step into the abundance that awaits them. We know that now is the time to manifest visions, realize our dreams, and accomplish our goals. Respect My Crown is a support system that encourages women to deepen in spirituality, sisterhood, accountability, and service. Our very special guest today has created one of the world's most empowering lifestyle blogs for women, XO Nicole, formerly known as Nicole Bitchy. She is more than a blogger. She is a speaker. She's a world traveler. She's a journalist. She is a health nut. I can't wait to talk about this later. And she is also an inspiration to many. Welcome, CEO and editor-in-chief of XONicole.com, Necole Kane. Hey, girl.
Hey.
How are you?
You know, it's a full circle moment because I feel like after the Blogging While Brown, they honored me as Blogger of the Year, and we interviewed afterwards, but I felt like I was already in a transitional space in my life. You know, it's time to move on from my celebrity gossip blog at the time.
Isn't that funny? That was like, what, 6 years ago maybe?
I want to say it was 2014.
I left my job last year working in radio for 20 years. I had a panic attack on the air. And because I was drained physically, mentally, I was just completely drained. And one thing that bothered me the most was the topics that I was having to talk about on the air.
Right.
And like during the time that I quit, because it was January of 2017, it was when Chris Brown and Soulja Boy had this ridiculous beef going on. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't care.
I don't have an opinion. I don't even want to mention it.
If I'm concerned about my ratings, I have to talk about what I believe people care about, right? The transition, it just wasn't easy. And I felt like my value had decreased when my name wasn't attached to this brand anymore. What were some of the struggles that you've come across, or maybe even the self-talk that you've noticed when you decided to let go of Necole Bitchy?
Well, it's funny because I do a lot of journaling and I do a lot of writing letters to myself. And I wrote a very eerie letter to myself during the time I was about to transition out of the Bitchy, saying, you know, it's going to be rough, but you did this for a reason. Like, what you're going to gain from this is worth everything that you lost. And you're right. When we work in the entertainment business, I noticed a lot of people, they let their jobs and their job titles define who they are. And when you take away that job, you know, or even people when they date, you know, if you date someone with a name like that becomes who you are and defines you, and then you guys break up and you're like, I don't know who I am anymore. That's what happened to me. And I told myself I would never get to a place in my life where I allowed what I do for a living in terms of my career to completely define me. And that's why I think I'm involved in all these things outside of like the website I have. You know, that's why I balance competing in my fitness life and personal with career, because I cannot have that one thing that I do define me. And I think a lot of times too, I put everything into my career. You know, wake up and everything is about my career. No balance. None. Nothing. You know, I did nothing outside of career. And so it's easy to be defined by that when that is your life.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, yeah. And, you know, I feel like when I take a look at all of the beautiful, successful, multicultural women that I know, you know, everyone is so obsessed with their careers. And yet you see these holes. So many people want to be in a relationship, you know, like I know so many single women that are like, when am I going to get married? And you see how we have invested so much into our careers that, like you said, we've kind of slacked in these other areas, or we just haven't created any balance for that.
It's very tough, but I knew when I turned 35, like that was a very defining year for me. It was a defining year because, I had parents that passed away at 41 and 42, and me being 35, I'm 6 to 7 years away from when they passed. And, their deaths were reminders to me that life is very short. And I had to ask myself, you're 35, if your life was to be cut short in 6 or 7 years, would you be happy with spending the rest of your time the way you are today? And absolutely not, And I mean, I watched my mom plan her funeral, and I never grasped the concept. Like, I remember her showing me her casket, showing me her tombstone, and for years, like, that just weighed on me. How can somebody pick out their tombstone, pick out their burial plot, etc.? And I was walking up the street one day last year, listening to the Audible book, The Last Arrow, and I wasn't even taking in the words, and he said something that made me stop in my tracks. And he said, most people choose their burial plot long before their death. And it means that most people, when they've settled for a life they don't love, and they're just existing, they're not living. And I was like, there's no way I'm not going to go out here and live this life I'm trying to live. Like,
like, let's get it.
Let me tell you, people look at me like, they know I'm about to move to Atlanta. I just moved to New York. I was in Arizona. I lived in Miami, Atlanta, etc. I'll tell you, it's one thing I'm proud of is when a situation no longer serves me, I remove myself from that situation. New York no longer serves me. And so I have no problems moving on. I'm not wasting another minute, another second, being somewhere or in a situation that no longer fulfills me or serves who I am and who I want to become.
There are so many women who are maybe listening right now who feel like they just can't do it. It sounds like you and I are risk takers. We're used to, hey, let's go to this next city. All right, let's go to this next city. Like let's just do it. And sometimes we have a way of thinking where it's like, I don't know, do you visualize it? Do you see yourself ahead of time in this place and what it looks like? Or are you just like, I'll figure it out when I get there?
I just started embracing it probably the over the last month. I do feel like I'm intuitive, and I do feel like spiritually I'm aligned. I'm very self-aware. And when I was in LA living, and I was a blogger at the time, 2013, 2014, I had a date with a guy. It was a breakfast date, and a matchmaker had set us up. He was a coach, and I remember going on this date, and he was the epitome of what I wanted in a husband. Like I was like, this is what I want in a man. But at the time, I did not feel like I was worthy of a man like that. And so I remember going home from that breakfast date, and my friend was like, how's the date, girl? I said, out of nowhere. Like, never planned this. This is the first thing came out of my mouth. I'm moving to Arizona. And she was like, what? She's like, what? Like, it's so random, girl. You just went on a date. What are you talking about? And I was just like, I'm going to Arizona. I, in that moment, knew I had to go there. And I had never really been there before, only to visit one time for a game, but never explored. But I knew that was the place I was going to go through my self-discovery phase. I was going to go through healing. And I was going to transition out of the life I was living that I did not love. And transition to this person I wanted to become, this person that would attract a man like that was ready for a man like that, because I wasn't.
Oh, girl, that self-awareness ain't no joke. When you can actually
you
say
date differently. When you're self-aware, you date differently. Everything is different.
Oh yeah. You're so right. You're so right. Is it hard for you to date at all when you've moved to different places?
The thing is, I date here and there, but I've been very focused on self-work over the last few years. And I've never been in I don't want to look at my age and think time is running out, because I don't want to fall into the arms of the wrong person. I know if I had settled or I tried to date someone 3 years ago, I would have dated a person that I would have outgrew, because I wasn't fully the person I am now. I hadn't grown into her yet. And so for me, I'm in a season of patiently waiting and surrendering to timing, because timing is the one thing we forget to surrender to. And so even when I meet someone and he seems like the perfect person, or he has husband qualities, if I'm not, I think a lot of times we want all these things out of a man that we aren't at the time. And I'm trying to be the love I want to attract. So I might meet someone, but I have to be very aware of timing and not rush into it and say, this may not be the right time at the moment. But when the time comes and it's right, if you're right for me, you're going to be there.
Ooh, girl, you have no idea. I'm sitting back here clapping my hands. I literally just had this conversation, Necole, last week with this guy. He's seen me go through divorce and other relationships, very toxic relationships, just came out of an abusive relationship this year. And I said it would be completely unfair for me to even consider dating someone right now, because I am not healed, and I know how I want to show up in a relationship and how someone deserves to see me and what I deserve, and it just isn't the time. And it's crazy when you see something and you're just like, ooh, this is it. But it takes courage. Like you said, it takes courage to surrender to time, to get out of your mind. Because, right now, when you look at women who are the same age as you, the countdown is on for a lot of women. I can't believe I'm not married by now. I can't believe I don't have my dream house by now. Or, like this idea of what happiness looks like, it's not real. It's like we need to figure out what happiness looks like by ourselves. You know what I mean? And then add these additional pieces to it. Some women feel like I have to be with someone in order to be happy.
Yeah, I think my biggest fear now, waiting so long to be in a relationship, a serious relationship that's intentional and filled with purpose, is that I've treated myself so well over the last few years that it's going to be hard to find someone that treats me better than I do, that loves me better and more than I love myself. And so it's so easy for me to walk away from a situation really quick,
Like, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. Like my single life is good. Like, and I just mentioned too, even a male friend earlier, how when I'm single, I'm looking in the mirror every day like, girl, I'm so proud of you. You so fly. You so beautiful. You so fearless.
Yes.
Like, I got this like unstoppable, like confidence. But when a guy comes in the picture, I slowly start seeking validation from them. I'm slowly starting to seek, wanting to be affirmed by them. And I'm like, what is happening to you? Like,
yeah.
You don't. You're fine when you're single. You have this high, like nobody needs to validate you because you already know you're amazing. You're bomb. You fly. Yeah. But then when a guy walks in, and so that's that confliction that I have with like, is it time for me to date? And that's something I'm gonna have to work through when I am dating someone seriously.
You have such a sweet spirit. You're just a great person. And you have a Colgate smile. She has a real
Thank
life
you.
Colgate smile, yeah. So I saw your ad for Colgate, and I was like, oh, that's so dope. And I'm always excited when I see women who are doing great things uh have these partnerships with, other great brands. And so I was like, look at my girl, Nicole, she's doing it. And in one of the videos that I saw, you talked about investing everything that you had into exonicole.com. What
hmm
exactly is everything?
Everything is when you leave one brand and you got a bank account that's tatted, you know. And
Yeah.
you got savings, yes. You got an account and you look like you're gonna be fine for a while. And then you start a new brand and it does, when you start something new, it's not gonna make money the first month. I mean, if you do, you're lucky, but
Yeah.
I had a brand that had a lot of expenses and no revenue coming in for quite some time. And I saw that bank account dwindle away, and it got
Yeah.
to a point where it's like, oh my God, when is the next check going to come? And am I going to have to go sleep on my aunt's couch again? Um,
Yeah.
so that was a difficult time because I started wondering if I had made the right decision. I know I was looking for investors, but what I've learned is you have to invest in yourself and your brand and show them the vision before they invest in it. So I would have been
Mhm.
waiting all I've been waiting years trying to launch Exo Nicole, or somebody would just took the idea and boxed me out and launched it that had the resources. So I had to
Right.
hurry up and launch what my vision was and just put everything into it and pray to God that it worked out.
And it did.
It was, honey, it was rough. It was rough.
Yes.
It
And
was rough.
I, it's important that we talk about those things, right? Because especially as entrepreneurs, because social media has entrepreneurship looking so glamorous. And no, y'all, no, it's not. It's nothing glamorous about it. It is a serious grind. And when you have something like that, where you're talking about a website brand, I can imagine, like you said, you're starting over from scratch. People think you make money instantly. Even if you've had a brand that was successful, it's almost like scratch all of that. Like that never happened. That just never happened. This is something totally different now, and you're starting over again. Was there ever a time where it got so bad that you were like, for real, I quit. I quit. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I think like a few months after I made the video talking about my what I wish I knew before I left a successful brand, the one that, went viral, got picked up by everybody. Everybody's talking about it. Um and I mention this headline all the time, the whole essence Nicole Bitchy from Boss to Broke. Like that one was the one that was a nail in the coffin for me because it's such a respectable brand, and I feel like women would read that. And I took a public risk because I wanted people to see what would happen if you left something successful that no longer fulfills you, and
Mm,
um and succeed and start something new while there's a new relationship, new career, and succeed. And so that's the risk
yeah.
I took doing it so public so people could see. So when they put that headline out, it was like, oh my God, I'm going to be remembered as the blogger who left her site, went broke, and failed. And that didn't sit
Mm,
right in my spirit. But, a few months later, I remember it being December, and I had started doing a bunch of like influencer stuff where, every Instagram post you're promoting a different brand. For
yeah.
check.
Yeah.
'Cause that's it's easy money. They throw you
Yeah.
$5,000, $10,000, but I'm like, I remember being so depressed because I was like, I don't even know what my brand is anymore. I'm up here
Mm,
promoting all these different people and their brands and bringing them customers, which is going to just grow their brand. But
yeah.
who am I and what's my brand and what do I really like? Because, it is people's profile you'll come across, and every post is a different, they're promoting something different. And so it gets to the point where
Mhm.
you wonder, but what do you like? If you weren't getting paid a check, what do you like? Who are you
Yeah.
if you're not getting that check? So that's the space I was in. I was like, I felt like I wanted more from myself than to be promoting a bunch of other people's stuff. And I had a brand that I really wanted to see evolve and become something.
Like you talked about how you felt during that time, but what about the people around you? Did you have friends or,
No, I
associates who were
mean,
like,
when I
don't
went to
do this?
Arizona, I was living in Arizona at the time, and it was the best thing I could do because most of my friends had no idea who I was. Everybody out there called me Nick. They didn't call me Necole.
Oh,
Um,
gosh.
Most people didn't know about my website. I was just a regular girl to them.
Oh, I love
And
it.
it allowed me to have some normalcy. I was out there and I dated. I dated more. I went on more dates in that year or two that I lived. The 2 years I was out there 2.5 years, but for 2 years I was dating more than I had ever dated in my life. And these people are dating me not knowing about my brand.
It was like the great escape.
It was so great. It was so great. And I was like, wow, this is what my life would be like without, if, because Necole Bitchy got big to me. I feel like one day I just woke up and, like, when you're in front of your computer all the time, you don't see the growth of things until you fly into Atlanta. And I say that
right
because that's where you'll see everybody that reads your site at the airport. So you fly.
Yes.
Like, I even got to prepare myself for that now because, being in New York, I don't go out as much. I spend most of my time in the gym. I got to get used to going down to Atlanta, where that's where our biggest base is. That's where our biggest readership is. So I might not be able to go to a restaurant without being stopped or somebody asking, how can they be employed at Extra Necole, or saying, I love you and I love the site. I got to prepare myself for that.
Yes.
But
yes.
yeah, in Arizona, it taught me how to live a normal life and how to be around people that have no expectations of you and don't want anything from you. You don't need anything from you. They don't care about your name, anything. And that's why I love venturing off into competing this year because, I'll go on stage and I'm just a regular girl like everybody else. I don't get special treatment from the judges. They have no idea about my website or who I am.
Yeah.
And I love that.
I want to talk about that too. My trainer, her name is Antonique. She's also a competitor and spends the whole day at the gym. And every time I see, you're getting ready to train, I'm just like, how is she doing this? Because I know what is required of you to do a competition. It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So
it is.
How do you balance the work and the workouts?
Honestly, the thing I really liked about my competition journey is it provided structure. And I had to get up a little bit earlier in the morning so I could do fasted cardio before my workday started and all these things. And if you think about it, that's the same thing you have to do if you become a mom or a wife. You might got to get up 2 hours earlier than you used to when you were single.
Yes.
Whether it's to have dinner ready or whatever. And so I think it was like it prepared me for a lot of what I want in my life. Like, I do want to be a mother. I do want to be a wife. And it showed me that I can adjust my schedule accordingly to fit in things that are important to me. Because before this, I used to wake up and I roll over and get started working, and there's no self-care routine, no morning ritual, anything, and my days, I would end up tired. I wouldn't eat until maybe 3 in the afternoon. For the first meal, I'm drained. I'm not as productive. And it's because I didn't do a lot of the things necessary that I do now that I'm a part of competing to set my day up to be successful. Like, a very important part of my daily routine is the cardio, being on the treadmill, whether it's I'm on the Stairmaster or I'm running for a half hour, 30 minutes or sprint intervals, because during that time I'm listening to motivational speeches I'm listening to
Mm-hmm.
motivational podcasts or audible books, and I'm feeding my mind and my spirit. I'm not wasting 30 minutes on the treadmill listening to music that's not going to progress me
Mm-hmm.
in life.
Mm.
I'm
That's
setting my
good.
day up. I'm setting
Yes.
my day up, and then when I get upstairs, I'm ready. I'm like, what we doing? Like, we about to conquer the day.
Yes.
So
Let's
yeah, that's
go.
how it's really changed my life and provided structure. And I feel like, your success is determined by your routine, your daily routine, which you consistently do every single day.
That's good. And knowing that even the fitness portion, like actually doing the cardio and how it's helping your body to set the tone for your day. Like you gotta, if
Mhm.
people are so lazy, I'm like, please just get up and just at least walk or jog or something because you have no idea. People think that they're going to be tired. And once you get used to it, you're actually not tired. You are energized. It makes
Right.
such a huge difference. And just being honest, like I've been battling with depression for the last, gosh, I mean, 7 or 8 months. And when and I love to work out, and anyone who follows me knows I'm always posting workouts and stuff. And for so maybe like twice in the last 6 5 months I've worked out, and I was like, what's going on? And I just did not want to get up. And so in the last 2 weeks, I have been really going into gym, and I feel so much better. And I know better. I know that when people are battling, depression, that you being physically active is so important. But yet, when you're battling depression, you don't want to be around anybody. So then you're like, no, I'll just stay at home.
Yeah. I feared one thing. I feared because my competing season, like I've been on prep since January, chasing the pro card, got my pro card, then decided to go on pro stages, but I was so scared for my season to come to an end because I have not had a depression spell in so long, and I go into or used to go in deep seated depression, like, and it's
Yes,
like
yes.
you're like, oh my God, I have not been depressed in so long, and it's because I know it has a lot to do with like me when in my spare time, me focusing on my fitness, my health, my body, and feeling confident and loving what's staring back at me in the mirror because of the work I'm putting in.
Yeah, that's so true. Nicole, I could be totally wrong, but when I heard that you were moving to Atlanta, the first thing I thought was Nicole's about to be doing some movies. Let's go, acting, producing, creating. I said, now that you and Will Packer have teamed up for Exo Nicole, will we see you on the big screen? Is that something that you want to do?
I think the sky's the limit for me. Atlanta made sense because Will films a lot of his movies and shows down there, and I do want to venture off into that in terms of not in front of the camera, but creatively. That's what I went to. I went to school for television, film production, and screenwriting, etc. So I want Axel Nicole to venture off into productions and things like that. But yeah, I am gonna be in the pilot episode of a new drama series coming out on OWN.
Ooh,
I'm filming this Friday, I think, and
that's
it's
exciting.
it is. I just gotta.
She's like,
I'm
what?
laughing because I'm trying to tell you. I'm like, God, there's a lot going on. Like I need
Yeah.
heads up. Um, but I just found this out like last week, right before my competition, and I was like, okay, like originally, I think so. I knew that Exo Nicole was gonna be featured. But I thought like as in the brand logo or whatever or somebody.
Yeah.
Um and I think they casted someone to play me because like I guess they didn't know I was a real person or something. And then somebody were like,
Oh, wow.
oh, no, she's a real person. So I got the script recently, and I thought I was going to say, like, one line, and there's, like, quite a few lines.
Yeah.
I think it's, like, 2 scenes, and I'm like, oh, my gosh, this is
I
serious.
love it.
And then getting a call and them asking me, do I have an agent so they can send the offer through to my agent? And I'm like, wait, God, what is happening?
Yes. I really want to encourage people about when you make a change in your life to do good and to be more in your purpose, doors will unexpectedly open. And it might not happen right away, but they will, and you will be blown away. Like, how did this happen? And it
blown
doesn't
away.
make sense.
Stay ready. I like me moving to Atlanta. Like you should. The last few weeks I've been restructuring all the departments in Necole. I've been restructuring sales and marketing. I've been restructuring social. I've been restructuring the editorial department. It's because, because I think sometimes when I get opportunities like this, sometimes I think, people forget I have a brand to run.
Yeah.
And it's just not like some small blog. Like there's different departments that gotta all work together to make sure that we're profitable and that we continue to grow. But I'm in a process of, like, I swear to God, a few weeks ago I was getting a deep tissue massage, and I felt like God was speaking. Like, a lot of people keep themselves busy, like always want to be at brunch with their friends, always want to be at a social function, but those people never take time to themselves and be alone. And that's when God really speaks to you, when he got you isolated and alone. So I was, I was getting this massage, and it's quiet and whatever. And God was like, I need you to get prepared for where I'm about to take you. Because this next chapter is about to be huge for you, and you need to get prepared. I said, you don't got to tell me twice, right?
Let me get it together.
Like, I know my staff was like, what's happening? Because when I said I got it, like, I did a 180, and I'm telling you, staying ready, so I don't have to get ready.
Right. That's right. There are 4 elements that make up Respect My Crown, and one is spirituality. And you talked about, God speaking to you and having that time where you can sit still and listen. What does spirituality look like for you on a daily? How are you connecting with God?
I mean, it's very important to me, just even upon waking up, that I don't just jump out of bed anymore. Like, I have to have that moment in the morning where I'm, first of all, thanking God, like being grateful for all the movement, all the things he's done in my life, acknowledging that I'm blessed and highly favored. And I do that every morning. When my head is clear, I haven't tackled the day. Nothing has, I haven't logged into social media yet. And I write my intentions as well, what I want to happen in my life. But yeah, I spend a lot of time alone. I appreciate my alone time because that's my time where I can have communication and talk with God often and tell him what I need, and what I want. And I'm very honest. I'm very honest with my, I might be like, God, I see you, like, it's raining men around me right now. But I need a couple more moments to get me together. Like, I see what you're doing. You got men falling out the sky.
Girl, I need to be hanging out with Necole.
I'm telling you, when you get your life together and you get up in a place of happiness and, you love who you are, like, that's when, like, the men that are for you will come, because what you're attracting is, who you are is reflected, and you're attracting those type of people to you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I believe that. So when this guy hit me up on Instagram, he said, you look happier than ever. And I was like, yeah, but that's healing. And I'm not even
Mhm.
100%. He was like, I like to take you out to eat. I was like, brother, I'll be hungry summer of 2019. So
I
if
know,
you want
right?
to take me to eat,
But
I
let me
will.
finish this good old healing, all right?
Okay. It's so for real. One other aspect of Respect My Crown is sisterhood. Do you have a big tribe or a small tribe of friends? And how do you weed out toxic people?
Well, I have a small tribe, and I have different tribes. Like I have my fitness tribe, but then I might have my entrepreneur women tribe. You know, it's
Yeah.
different tribes that suit different aspects of my life. Um, yeah, and then I have my Necole tribe, like my writers, my managing editor, my social media editor. Like it's a sisterhood.
Yeah.
Within, it's not a mean girl atmosphere. It's a growth and sisterhood atmosphere. And that's what I love the
Yeah.
most about my brand.
And within sisterhood comes accountability, which is the third element of Respect My Crown. How are you holding other women accountable? And in what area do you feel like stands out the most where you're like, women really need help with this?
I do check-ins with my friends, etc. Um, Especially the ones that are like want to make a lifestyle change or want to do something different in their career, but don't have the guts, etc. Helping them create plans and monthly goals
Mm.
and small steps to work towards to get the bigger wins and the bigger goals. But for the most part, just check in with friends to see if they're still on the path.
And then the last aspect of Respect My Crown is service. What are maybe one of the most rewarding ways you feel like you give back to the world?
XONecole.com, XONecole Instagram. And I say this because I swear the site has evolved me so much as a person. Like when I had Necole Bitchy, I just felt like I stayed at one age. And so, when I tell people I'm 38 years old, they're like, what? And you can't be. And I know it has a lot to do with physical appearance and me not looking 38, but also it's because, I acted young for so long because I catered to a younger audience that was into
Yeah.
gossip and into entertainment news. And so when your whole day revolves around what celebrities are doing, how do you evolve as a person? How does your mind frame evolve? And mine
Yeah.
didn't, so now I have this
Mm.
brand and we're talking, we're showcasing career women every day. We're showcasing people that took risks. We have articles on self development and how to, just encourage pouring into yourself and self-care and self-love and wellness, etc. And I think that's one of the greatest gifts right now, especially as women of color, and having a platform that caters to women of color in a positive way, because a lot of sites that were catering to young women, young Black women, were kind of entertainment, highly driven by celebrity content, highly
Oh,
driven
yeah.
by their whole homepage is full of celebrity stuff. And it's almost saying
Hmm.
that you can't capture the attention of young Black women unless it's it's focused on gossip or style, but
Yeah.
and that's why we try to do a range of things. And it's hardly ever you log into the homepage, you're not going to see more than one article, maybe two at most, on the homepage that features a celebrity. Most of them is, self-development, self-help articles, health, wellness related, business related, or personal essays from women
Hmm.
who are sharing their stories.
It's what people really need. It's the meat.
Yeah.
Go to where you can get the meat. All right. As we close out, I always end with asking my guests to give an affirmation. I am fill in the blank, and why do you choose that affirmation?
I am the woman I've always dreamed of being.
Hmm.
When I was 20, I always dreamed of being the woman I am today. Or not 20, but in my 20s. And so to see
Yeah.
how I've grown and developed and turned into this, evolved into this woman, over time is just very proud of that.
I am too. You are a phenomenal woman. You are inspiring and encouraging and motivating women all across the world. And we are so grateful to have you living in your purpose. Like truly living your best life is so inspiring to other people. So thank you so much, Necole Kane, for being a part of Respect My Crowns podcast today.
Thank you for having me.